So welcome back to our second room one-on-one from the Homeboys for the week. This time European football is pushed to the side and we look forward to this weekend's late Saturday tie with St Johnstone and McDermott Park. So as always, I am delighted to welcome co-host of the Norwegian Football Betting Podcast and more importantly, St Johnstone fan, Greg Browning, back to the show. Well, Greg, how are you, pal?
Hi Scott, good to be here, buddy. Glad to be back. I guess firstly, I'm not looking forward to Saturday night's match. I know you are.
You said this last time. You're at it now. You're at it.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I was looking forward to it. Obviously, we're still managerless and
We'll,
we're not
we'll,
doing great.
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Your travails of this season. So like we're pretty far down the road. Me and you. You're not a new guest. Never knows. However, why don't you give us a wee update on first of all the podcast and the betting channel, and then tell us what you've been up to this weekend.
Yeah, sure, Scott. So, been running the podcast now for the last 6 seasons, focusing on primarily Scottish football. So we do a weekly Scottish betting podcast. And we've got guys like, I guess, Div McDonald from Pie and Bovril. We've got
Brilliant.
Jim Delahunt comes on 2 or 3 times a season. We've got Paul Petrie from McBookie as well. So we've been doing it for 6 seasons now. And we also do a Norwegian dedicated podcast as well. And that came about during COVID. We started doing the Norwegian podcast during COVID. They were one of the few leagues still playing football during when kind of COVID first kind of kicked off. And we got in tow with David Weatherston. So David is an ex-Scottish professional football player who now lives in Norway. So he's our man on the ground essentially.
Brilliant.
So been doing the podcast with David now for the last 5 seasons, and we've always been meaning to get across to Norway. For one, to catch up with him. Two, have a piss up out in Oslo, and three, also taking a couple of matches. So we did that this weekend. Myself and Paul, who kind of co-hosts the podcast with me, we went across to Oslo on Friday morning and spent the weekend in Oslo. So really good weekend. Went to a couple of matches. We went to an Elite Azerian game on the Saturday in Drammen. That was between Strømsgodset and Sarpsborg. And also on the Sunday, we went to down the leagues into Division 2. And it wasn't an eye-opener, but it was junior football at best.
Right, okay.
So
Jeez.
the difference in quality between the Elite Azerian match and the Division 2 game is quite a gap in the quality of football. To the point where, Scott, I'll be honest with you, I could have got a game in the Sunday.
Well, I've never seen you play, so I'll allow that. But I'm telling you, right, first of all, from what you just told me there, that's brilliant with regard to the podcast. It's a very successful podcast, as I'm led to believe. Second of all, you've been doing it the Norwegian one, 5 seasons, and you've not picked up the way it's, because I'm sure it was Strømsgodset or something like that. Do you know
No,
what I
I
mean?
think you overemphasized the also Strømsgodset, and same with Tromso would be Tromso. So we're getting better. David is fluent in Norwegian, and also he is now a Norwegian citizen, so that really helps
Right,
us. But he
fantastic.
keeps us in the straight and narrow. I tell you what, it's not easy. I can barely speak English, let alone Norwegian. So
I done a podcast the other week with Mikael, a Slovan Bratislava fan, and I was trying
right,
to rattle out their name. I literally had them all wrote out phonetically. I was like,
yes.
yeah, no, just so I kind of came across normal, but still made an ass of it. But what's interesting about you talking about you went to Strømsgodset was sure that was Ronnie Dyer's team, and Ronnie Dyer brought
It
them up
was, yes.
and he brought them up
Yep.
for the second division to kind of win the league. Which, if you're saying there's such a fall off between the top league and the next league, then that achievement's wild, is it not?
It really is. I think the Elite Azerian, in terms of the style of football, having watched it at close hand on Saturday, it's a completely different game in comparison to here. It's slower, it's more technical. The players, I would say, are technically better. A lot of passing, very, very few high balls. I wouldn't say there was much in the way of a scrap on the pitch
Right,
as
right.
such, in terms of tackling, and even the atmosphere. Both sides had their own ultras group, which is great, and they created a great atmosphere. But the stand I was in, their main stand essentially, and that was full. It was their 100th birthday for the ground, and what I did notice was they're a lot calmer than we are. They don't tend to get on the players' back as much. They're not shouting abuse at the referee. In comparison to what we do, we lose the plot of games.
Yeah,
We turn
yeah.
turn red in the face, turn into people we don't want to become during a match. But in Norway, it was very civilized. It's just a different way of playing football, I guess, and watching it.
A different people, I would suggest. So with that knowledge of Norwegian football, right? So I was actually talking. Where was I talking? When I was talking to Uli Hess. So Uli Hess is a German author. He's wrote and he done my preview for the Borussia Dortmund game. And we were just talking about. You remember the day Rosenborg were in the Champions League and Rosenborg
Absolutely,
were
yeah.
Real Madrid, and then Rosenborg had what was it, 11 in a row, and they were in the Champions League often enough that they were earning that amount of money. How they fell off so much. I mean, obviously the Bodo Glimt thing's a wild story in itself, but it's kind of mad, isn't it? Like Norwegian football has.
No, it really is. And anyone who follows football will know Rosenborg will be kind of Norway's number one club from a trophy perspective and also competing in the Champions League. But as you say, the last 4 or 5 seasons, it's not gone their way. I'm not sure the ins and outs as to why. Obviously,
Right.
Bodo Glimt have come up now and won the league campaign 3 of the last 4 seasons. They're going to win it again this season, probably. You've got clubs like Molde, who are always there or thereabouts. But yeah, Rosenborg have kind of fallen off. What you'll find now is, with Bodo Glimt, thankfully for Norwegian football, they failed at the last hurdle to get into the Champions League proper. If they'd done that,
Right.
they would be streets ahead financially.
Yeah.
Every other club in Norway. Don't get me wrong, they're still in the Europa League. They're actually winning 3-1 right now against Porto in the Europa League as we speak. They're up 3-1. So financially, even with the Europa League, they're getting money in. But if they went to Champions League football, it would be a monopoly of Bodo Glimt football for decades to come.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something I remember happening with Rosenborg, but obviously not to the same degree because the money wasn't as obscene as it is now. I mean, it is the same. Like I talk about when Celtic do it right. I mean, I would rather that there was another 3 or 4 clubs challenging in Scotland. To be perfectly honest, I still want Celtic to win, but the fact of the matter is, us getting into the Champions League in front of them, in terms of challenging for the league, it's a body blow, and it's the truth. Do you know what I mean? It's the fucking truth. So I can imagine when you say that. However, but for Norwegian football, and I suppose they want their best clubs to play in the best competitions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were really very, very close. They lost out to Red Star Belgrade in the second.
I was quite surprised by that, to be honest, considering.
Red Star are a good team. Bodo Glimt obviously very strong at home. They beat Roma last season in the Europa League. They're about to beat Porto tonight. So absolutely no mugs when it comes to European football. But yeah, I think they'll still be the Norwegians' kind of number one club for the next couple of seasons anyway.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Well, we'll touch up on that in the future. That's mega interesting, man. I'm glad you had a good trip as well. What's the beer like? Is it as dear as they say?
Oh, it's horrendous. It's not just the beer. It's everything's expensive. We got a taxi, which must have been about no longer than a 2 or 3 minute journey. And I think it was 30 quid for the taxi. Yeah, but you're talking 10, 11 pound a pint. Food's the same. It's just what it is.
Lucky that gambling website yours is paying that. Right, okay. So, first one of the season. You know the drill by now. Let's have a wee look at last season. Right. Stephen McLean, former striker, first team coach, interim manager, was given the full job after finishing the previous season. Now, to say last season was a bit of a struggle, I think it's fair. You know what I mean? In the League Cup, in a group with Stennismuir, Alloa, Ayr United, and Stirling Albion, 1 win from 3, should I say. 4-0 away win over Alloa, so the team finished third in the group, 8 off the top, out of the cup, first hurdle. Scottish Cup came equally as fast in January this year. Went as quickly. 1-0 away, lost to Airdrie, so all the cups finished. In the league, a struggle. McLean, that Alloa Cup game aside, wouldn't get 1 win before he was dismissed from the job on the 29th October after a 4-0 defeat from St Mirren at St Mirren Park. 9 games in, 0 wins, 4 draws, 5 defeats. 3 goals scored, 14 conceded, 4 points on board, and sitting bottom of the league. Alec Cleland oversaw the next match, and the team responded. A 2-1 win over Kilmarnock at McDermott Park. Craig Levein, somewhat surprisingly, for me at least, was appointed on the 5th, and he had his own new manager bounce in a 2-2 draw with Murrow, 2-0 up on that day.
Yes.
And then a 1-0 home win over Ross County. So the season after that could really be described as inconsistent, I would say, for the nicest way to say it. But the form defo picked up to give the team at least a fighting chance.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Bottom 6 was confirmed after a 3-1 defeat by Celtic Park. After 3 defeats and a draw in the relegation round, it all came down to the final day. After a 1-each draw with Ross County, St Johnstone sat in 11th place in the league in the relegation playoff position, 7 points ahead of already relegated Livingston, 2 behind Ross County themselves. A nervy 2-1 win on the final day, going 2-0 up in the first half, but a late Ibaye goal making that nervy finish, alongside County drawn with Aberdeen 2-2, and the Saints would buy the benefit of 4 goals, hop above County and safety. So 38 games played, 8 wins, 11 draws, 19 defeats, 29 goals scored, 54 conceded, minus 25 goal difference, 35 points on board, 8 behind Murrow, and crucially 4 goals better than County in 11. So, mate, that sounds fucking murder.
Oh, you've no idea. And that's off the back of us really struggling the year before that, and really struggling the year before that. So, kind of 3 years in a row we've struggled since winning the cup double. It's just not happened for us, and we've been involved in, I guess, a relegation dogfight in each of the last 3 seasons, and I don't see this season being any different, to be honest with you. There's no Livy in the league this year, so you're trying to look at, okay, who are we going to finish above this season? And there's not many clubs I can see us finishing above. I think Ross County are one of them. I think they'll be down the bottom 3. Then you're hoping like a Motherwell or a Dundee United also have poor seasons as well.
Dundee United was the one on my lips.
But they've started the season relatively well, United, and surprisingly as well, so have Motherwell. So we've actually got some decent players in the side this year. We're a lot better to watch. I think in terms of the stats, we've scored 8 goals in our first 6 matches. Compare that to last season, we scored 3 goals in our first 9 matches. So we are more of a threat going forward, and that kind of comes down to the players we brought in. Got Kimpioka and Sabidabire scoring goals for us, which is great. But they're both suspended this weekend, so we're relying on Nicky Clark scoring goals and young Mackenzie Kirk
and Nicky Clark was your top goal scorer last season, if I'm right, with 5 goals or something. So
yeah, not many.
Not many. We'll go with that.
I think Craig Levein came in right and done a job.
Right. Straight away. When Craig Levein comes in, what's your immediate thoughts? Because you like to sit on Twitter and gee it out, right? And it's quite a thing. It's quite a thing watching you, right? But you like to sit and gee it out, and you kind of like to look at them. So when Craig Levein comes in, what's your immediate thinking? I mean, is it something you kind of went, I can see it?
At the time, I wasn't against it. I was a bit surprised, to be fair, given the fact he had been out of a job for 5 seasons or 5 years. But at that point, though,
before that was the Hearts nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't overly thrilled, but at the same time, we were needing somebody to come in, steady the ship, and start getting points on the board. And to be fair to him, he did do that, and he did identify some decent players as well throughout his time. So don't get me wrong, it's same with any club. Some good players coming in, some really, really poor players coming in. But he did, I think, in my opinion, bring in some really good players that we've still got. But what should have happened was in the summertime, it should have been a handshake. Thanks very much, Craig. Good job. Thanks very much. And we went and got somebody else. But for whatever reason, we decided to keep him. And
what was the contract he signed initially?
I think it was 2.5 years, 3 years, I think it was.
Right.
It wasn't a case of come in and help us, Craig. It was a come in and see what happened. So football wasn't great. A lot of fans were against Craig Levein, but as this season kind of started, that Kilmarnock game gave us a kind of false sense of security, really. We beat Kilmarnock 3-0 at Rugby Park. They were off the back of a European game. Everything went our way that day. And since then, we've lost 5 out of 6. So we drew obviously County on Saturday after two goals up with
The,
eight,
the,
eight
Alec,
minutes to
the
go.
Alec Cleland effect, is it?
Yeah, we've got a few minutes to go. So it's one of those ones. But I think everyone's glad he's left. And now, obviously, we are waiting to find out what happens. I do know that, obviously, our chairman is not keeping the best of health, our new American owner, Adam Webb. I do think that's been a factor in him deciding to get shot of Levine sooner. I must admit,
Right.
I think that's a factor to be played as well. Given the fact we've got Celtic and Rangers next, then the international break, I think he might have got a little bit longer. But I think there's obviously stuff happening there in the background. Adam Webb's made the decision early doors. Right, let's get rid of him.
Right,
We
right.
have.
Let's put a wee bit more meat on that, and we'll jump to this summer anyway, right? So, like you say, Craig Levine, despite the nervy finish. By the way, I meant to say you must have enjoyed the last day at least. The last day must have
Do
been
you know
a
what,
good
Scott?
day.
It's probably the first game last season I actually enjoyed. I got a buzz from being at the match. I left so many games. I've got a rule, a 3-goal rule, especially a 3-goal rule. If we're getting beat 3-0, I'm away.
Right, aye.
Doesn't benefit me being there still or the players, so
Putting
I
yourself
just leave.
through this.
Yes. So there wasn't many games last season where you left away from home with a bit of a buzz, and we got that and a bit of relief as well, staying up.
Aye. Right, so as I say, Craig Levine keeps his job, but on the 10th of July, it was confirmed that the long-standing Brown family owners were bought out by Adam Webb, an American lawyer with a interest, I believe, in Cambridge United.
Yes.
So he replaced Jeff Brown, who had been the majority shareholder at St Johnstone since 1986. And in the past week, just as you spoke about there, mate, it's been revealed that Webb himself has been treated for cancer in the head and neck. So before we get on to kind of the ins and outs, what words, as a St Johnstone fan all your life, what words do you have for Jeff Brown? And then tell us a bit about the new guy. And because, see, to be honest, we just know him as St Johnstone. We got an American owner. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about him. I mean, I was even trying to fucking look at it, and the information's no there. I mean, it just keeps telling he's part of Cambridge United, and I'm going, but what the fuck is he? So,
well, first of all, if you could address him as Sir Jeff Brown,
Sir Jeff
that'd be a
Brown,
lot
my
better.
apologies. You can stick your fucking crown out your ass.
I think there's I don't think there's enough words really to describe the Brown family, especially Jeff. There for 40 years, saved the club from, I guess, going under. Brought us to McDermott Park. Wasn't one of these chairmen that would go out and spend money like some other clubs did during the 90s, which maybe helped protect us as well during that time.
Yeah.
Took a bit of time for us to finally get some silverware, but we finally got that in 2014. Then we had the cup double in 2020, 2021, plus multiple European trips and qualifications as well. So obviously we've now called the main stand the Jeff Brown stand as well. And yeah, you won't find a bad word said about him in Perth in terms of the Brown family. In terms of Adam Webb, a bit like you, Scott, still a bit of an unknown really. Don't know much about him. I know that he likes golfing and fishing. He's been in Perth quite a lot recently. Not so much now, obviously, given this unfortunate news. But he's saying all the right things. We needed that. We needed somebody else to come in and just kind of relight the place a little bit and give people a bit more optimism, given the fact that the sale's been up for sale now for a good couple of seasons and no one's kind of taken it yet. So, but I'm the same as you. Don't know too much about him other than he has come in. He's got a lot of money. He comes from a legal background. He's also brought in, I would say, his pals on board as well. So he's got 4 or 5 of his pals on the board who also, I'd imagine, putting money into the club. So I'm not saying he's going to be it does sound promising. I don't think he's going to be a sugar daddy, but I think there'll be a budget there for a manager to work with. And if the manager identifies a player, I think there'll be money there for that manager to go and get that player within reason. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. But I still think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that need to sharpen up. And he'll hopefully understand that by now that the club's been neglected in terms of the off-the-field running of the club for years now. And I think I've spoken to you about this before. So be interesting to see what happens this season and obviously who they're going to appoint now that Levine's been sacked.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I mean, that does sound promising. I am cynical now of American owners.
Yes.
Mega cynical. I mean, I remember the Aberdeen guy came in, Ron Gordon came in at Hibs, and I was over the moon with it because you were bringing these guys in. They were coming from an American background. They were maybe going to push Scottish football away from some of the old norms, but they just every American owner they'll see me come into Scotland just make a total ass of it.
Pretty
Right?
much. That's exactly what's happened, isn't it? That's exactly what's happened.
Everyone. So
Yeah.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of so I'll hold my water on it, but it sounds promising, and I hope he does. I hope he does kind of get a good bit of investment in the club. Right. So as always, before we get into kind of the league season as it is just now, I always like to do the ins and outs in the summer, right? And this is where I kind of tell my listeners my research. I've fucking deleted it, so I'm going to be winging this a wee bit. Right. So outs as per first. Cammy Ballantyne left for Linfield. Callum Booth joined Spartans. James Brown went to Marine. Ali Crawford signed for Morton. Chris Kane left for Dunfermline. Jack Wallace was picked up for Queen's Park. All departed at the end of their contracts alongside Tony Gallagher and Andy Considine, who had retired after a couple of seasons with the club, and a good few OGs versus us. Good man. Liam Gordon left and joined Murrow. Daniel Phillips and Ryan McGowan joined Stephen and Livingston respectively, all in freeze. A massive loss in gain for Aberdeen saw number one Dimitar Mitar, after a great if pressured season, left for an undisclosed fee. Now, loans out, Bailey Klimalik and Aaron Cox, who just joined this summer, left for Forfar. Andy McMillan, Albion Rovers, Jackson Milacrease left for Forfar as well. Stevie May went to Livingston. Liam Parker joined Cove Rangers. Joe Ellison joined Berwick Rangers. Taylor Stephen, Cliftonville. Alec Ferguson, Stirling Albion. Aludua Alafuani. Anyway, oh jeez. I used to add this, all wrote out phonetically. And Connor Smith, who scored last year against Celtic, both joined Hammond Hackies. So they're away on season loans, 6-month loans, whatever. Right. Ins. Uki Ikpeazu, who former Hearts striker, joined from Port Vale. Josh Ray, a 26-year-old a goalkeeper, joined from Airdrie. Josh Bake, a 26-year-old fullback, joined from Stirling Albion. Jack Sanders, I think he's a centre-half, joined from Kilmarnock. Aaron Essel, a Ghanaian winger, am I right? No, Ghanaian defender, joined from Beckham United in his home country. Andre Raymond joined from Bilarde Perdizes in Portugal. He's a Trinidad and Tobago winger. Aaron Cox, aforementioned, joined from Brookhouse College Football Academy. Mackenzie Cup joined from the Hearts B team, I'm led to believe, for an undisclosed fee, but I'm reading there free. And Jason Holt, the former Livingston centre mid, had joined for a free. So, and loan, Kyle Cameron joined from Notts County on loan, and Lewis Nielsen joined from Hearts on loan. So that's your ins. Now, you're down the line, you've seen most of them, I would presume, apart from the younger guys. I noticed there was a good few young guys in that. Anybody that you've kind of went, right, good, great move straight away. Anybody who's left that you've went, we could have done with him, apart from Mitov, obviously.
Apart from Mitov, in terms of players moving out, I think a lot of those players came to the natural end of their contracts and time at St Johnstone. Stevie May being one of them, Considine being one of them as well. There's maybe arguments about Ryan McGowan. Could have still done a job for us. I believe he could have. Also, his experience too at the club would have been good in and around the dressing room and on the training pitch too. He's now at Livingston as well. In terms of the players that have come in, Andre Raymond has been fantastic.
Right.
He's a little stocky left back, but he's very, very quick, very, very strong. I don't know how long we'll keep him for. Now,
one of these guys. Oh, that's
he
good.
came in on a recommendation from Dan Phillips. So Dan Phillips left in the summertime. He's also from Trinidad and Tobago, and I think gave Craig Levine, by the way, get him snapped up. So we did. And tell you what, I really like him. He bombs up and down. You'll see him on Saturday night. He's a really good player. Still quite raw, but he's quick. He likes to go forward and likes to tackle, so he's done really well so far. I guess the same can't be said for some of the other signings. I think the jury's out. We're only into September now, and we're now 5 or 6 matches in. Defensively, we've been really poor this season, and unfortunately, we don't have a strong number one. Last season we had Mitov.
Yeah.
This season we've got Josh Ray, as you say, from Airdrie, and we've got Ross Sinclair, who's been at St Johnstone for quite some time. So both quite inexperienced goalkeepers. Between the two of them, they've played about 8 or 9 like first team games for St Johnstone in the league. So league's still pretty young. We need an experienced goalkeeper in, and that's really letting us down. Mitov, let's not beat about the bush. He kept us up last season, and that's why he got every single Player of the Year accolade. He did every single accolade last year, and he got a deserved move to Aberdeen, and he's done really well up there so far.
Do you know how much he got from him?
Oh,
It says
300 pennies. £300,000. I think some of your boys are on that a week right now. So yeah, right. 300 grand we got for him.
Right, okay. So let's look at the squad as we do, right? So that's good. You've already touched on the goalkeeper, because I was going to bring that up. I mean, at Celtic, I've seen in the past great goalkeeper, and then see when you get a goalkeeper who's maybe he's not even terrible, who's just not as good as that. Noticeable, straight away noticeable. So you guys it must hurt you straight away, especially Constantine.
It's really bad, Scott. It's really bad. Some of the goals we've lost this season from crosses and set pieces are horrific. So crosses, corners, free kicks into the box, can't defend them, and we've got two goalkeepers who one can't use his hands, everything's with his feet, and the other one is scared of getting hurt, in my opinion. So never a good start when you've got 2 weak goalkeepers and a defence who keep shipping goals. Going forward, do you know what, Scott? Midfield and going forward, I think we're in a really good shape.
Right, okay, well, a guy who sticks out straight away, and I'd like to tell you, he was sent half recently as well, Benjamin Mbonga Kimpioka, a Swedish forward. You had him last season, but he started this season, he's played 10 games, he scored 7 goals. And in the league, when I saw that, I was thinking, well, he must have all been in the League Cup. So sure enough, he scored 5 for 5, but he still scored 2 and 5 in the league. Yeah, it's a decent return. I mean, how was he looking?
When he first came on, his first game was against Airdrie in the Scottish Cup, and I just went, "Oh my God, this guy's a
really Jesus!"
But he has improved dramatically. He's quick, really, really quick, and he's definitely improved over the summertime. But obviously, he got a stupid sending off at Hibs 2 weeks ago. So he's been suspended last week, and I'm pretty sure he's suspended this week as well. But no, he has been good. Again, very, very raw. But he's got pace to burn, and that's something we haven't really had at the club for a long, in fact, you know what, forever. We've never had speedy strikers. We've got him, and we've got Speedy as well, who is also very, very quick. So
tell us about him. He scored 4 goals this season in 8 games, so it's a decent return as well.
Yeah, it's been really good. He came from like the 10th tier of English football. Again, we were due one of these players who have come up from down south. You see it happen at Motherwell all the time. Motherwell have got a knack of bringing in strikers. We don't. We absolutely don't. So it's great to see us finally get a couple of boys up from England, and they're doing well. There's been a lot of interest in him from other clubs. Obviously, his double sending off at Dundee United last month hasn't aided his transfer fee at all, and he's been a big miss. So when those two start, they do cause defences problems. Very, very quick. And thankfully, and luckily for you boys on Saturday, you won't be facing either of them.
You done this to me last time. I was actually wanting to give you a hug last time, and he's got a 0-0 draw with us, man.
Yeah.
Right, so I mean, I'm looking at the teams. I'm looking at it for last season. So Graham Carey's obviously a guy who always sticks out for me because he played with Celtic as a boy, but he's a regular in your team. Cammy McPherson is another one that you'd kind of spoke to me in the past as somebody that you always think. I mean, is Jason Holt come in? He's only played 3 games. How's he looking?
He's been really good, Jason Holt. He's
Jason Holt's a good player.
I do as well. I don't think he was that great the last time he was at us. He was at us before on
Right,
loan,
okay.
maybe 2 seasons ago. But I was more than happy. For one, he's he's one of these players, right? If he's playing for you, you love him. If he's playing against you, you think he's a
He's
wee
a
shit.
bam. Oh,
He's a
aye.
bam. But we need that. We need a bam in our team. We've got quite a young team, very few leaders in there, and he's one of these players that will always be in the referee's ear the whole game. And also, he's getting better with age. He's good in the ball. He gets stuck in. So he's only played a couple of games, as you say, but I'm more than happy to have him
Right,
in the team.
right, good.
And he's good for a booking as well.
Yeah. You always on top of it. By the way, but there sums it up. There sums up. You're saying to me the different attitudes between Norwegian football and they like this and we're saying going, we need a bam in our team. We
We
need a
do.
bam. So who else? I mean, Matthew Smith. He's got a decent pedigree. He's a good
Yes, he's
player.
excellent as well. I'll tell you what, he's a really good player. I would say he's one of our most technically gifted players.
Right. Okay.
Really, really good. He's a starter every week for me. He pretty much is, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Holt's coming now as well. I think our front two in midfield kind of picks itself a little bit now. We play kind of five across the middle. Dre Wright on the right hand side and Raymond on the left. You've then got Matt Smith, Sprangler, and kind of Holt as well in the middle. So I think midfield wise and going forward, I think we're in a decent place, but we desperately need a goalkeeper and we desperately need a centre half.
Mm.
And I don't know where on earth we're going to get one between now and January. And
Speak to
that's the big
Speak
worry.
to Brendan, see if we can get Stephen Welsh to you because I don't want to see him ever again, man. Right. Anybody else in the squad that you think's worth talking about that I've kind of missed out? Any young guys coming through?
Not really at the moment. No, I think we've got a young
Not the
team,
time for
but
that, is it?
yeah, I wouldn't say we do. To be honest with you, I think looking through the squads, we're a couple of players short at the back and in defence, as I said. But I wouldn't say Kurt McKenzie's an example of a young player coming through from Hearts in the B squad.
Yeah.
Scored a lot of goals last season for them. He's come in, and to be fair to him, although he's the I guess caretaker manager's son, Andy Kirk, he's actually done really well. So hopefully we keep him. He could be one to kind of keep an eye on, but he will only play if we've got suspensions, I would say,
Okay.
or injuries,
Very well,
at the moment.
So, I mean, you've kind of summed up there. With regards to the incomings, what position, right, you've already made your point clear about the goalkeeper, but was there something in the summer when the transfer window shut, you went, fuck, how have we not got X? How have we not got left back? How have we not got centre half? Is there more kind of, I mean, like, see, Andy Considine and Ryan McGowan leaving with the ages there makes sense, but it doesn't make sense if you don't replace it with that same physical.
Yeah, we absolutely haven't. It's not even that. It's the experience that they both had on and off the pitch. We don't really have that with the boys that have come in.
Yeah.
Sanders is young from Kilmarnock. He was at Ayr last season. Nielsen's come in young from Hearts, and we brought in Cameron from Notts County, and he's been a bit iffy. So, yeah, but there's definitely could have been a better summer in that respect in terms of experience, and that's why I'm glad we brought Holt in to kind of just give us a little bit of bite in the middle of the park. Scott, I'm really sorry. Are you editing this?
So this season so far, in the League Cup, drawn in a group with Breton, Morton, Alloa again, and East Fife. Opposite of last year, 3 wins and 1 defeat, this time to Alloa, meant that St Johnstone finished top of the group, a point ahead of Alloa themselves in qualification to play Rangers on the 17th of August. We'll come to that. In the league, opening day defeat at home to Aberdeen. A late OG was all you got on the day, but having watched the highlights, it actually looked like a decent game of football. Do you know what I mean? What I'm going to say here will be repeated. It basically backs up what you said to me earlier on. The set piece you've lost for the first goal, scandalous. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's even challenging it. You followed that up with a 3-0 win or Kilmarnock. Again, exactly like you said. I'm going to say you're 1-0 up before the red card, but you look the part. You're creating chances. See if he's won. I know they had the red card, but if you won 5-0 that day, I don't think anybody's moaning.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
Next up was that trip to Hampden. Rangers won 2-0 on the day. I appreciate they scored late to make it 2-0, and then that. I still don't really know what happened with the goal. Is it because they think it's a foul or it's not a foul or something?
Well, the referee thought it was a foul, so he's blown for a foul.
Right.
We've stopped. He's carried on and scored.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Then VAR's went, wait a minute, let's have a look back at this, and they've done that. So they've
Did
looked
the
back at
referee
it.
blow the whistle?
Well, he was talking about it's a foul, and he must have blown. He must have done something because our player stopped. I think
Right.
you're right.
Okay. That changes up. Right. All
No,
right,
I think it might be right. Actually, I don't think he did blow the whistle. I
right.
think
Okay.
our players thought he blew the whistle. So Dessers carried on and scored. Our player stopped thinking, well, you're going to give a foul. Because he did shout, I'm giving a foul. Then obviously VAR looked at it and went, well, no, do you know what? There wasn't actually a foul. Which was the right decision, sadly. It wasn't a foul.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's like a fuggle of every game, man, isn't it? Fuck's sake.
yeah, first half we played all right in that match, but second half, the minute Rangers score, they're going to go on and win the match.
Yeah, right. So next up, Dundee United away completed a trilogy of away games. Another 2-0 defeat, and that Adama Sidibe red card, like you said.
Yeah, we missed an open goal for
Yeah,
about 5 yards right before half time to go 1-0 up. And it's
I was
fine
going to
margins
say
in
you
football,
lit them
Scott,
away
as you
with
know.
murder.
Yeah, first half was really good. Should have went up 1-0 at half time. Then the second half again, never really turned up. Got a man sent off, and United kind of ran out quite comfortable 2-0 winners in the end.
Yeah. Next up was the home tie with Motherwell. Another defeat, another late Ibiye goal for Motherwell, and another red card. Now, the opener's a fucking stinker of a goal to concede. I mean, Halliday scored a belter, but it's offside. The equaliser's a cracker. It was a good move. I thought he's looked like a good pass, and I mean the goalkeeper probably should do better, but again, set pieces, man. I mean, who else was I talking to this season, and they look a bit iffy on set pieces, but every time one comes in, but Motherwell looked fucking deadly with them, in fairness. But the red card, what's he doing?
He just lost the plot. And obviously got 2 red cards. So he's currently away in international duty, or he was at the time.
Right.
So he was a big loss, and we've obviously missed him for 5 matches.
And then you've got Hibs, another 2-0 defeat. I think
Again,
this is the worst. I think this is the worst game we've played.
First half were excellent.
Really?
Hibs I thought were really, really poor.
Well, the highlights do you need?
No, I'm not doing that through St Johnstone tinted glasses. The first half, I thought we played really well. We're the better side, passed the ball better than Hibs. We shouldn't be going to Eastern Road and passing them off the park. In that first half, I thought we did at times. Second half, Hibs were the better team.
And
again, they score right in half time to again go 1-0 from a set piece.
Yeah. Set pieces again, a crap. Red card is another absolutely stupid red card.
Yeah.
And then the Ross County, poor start, could have been a few goals down, but then you've got a great goal to equalise. The 2 free kicks are belters, man, belters. And then the defending for the fucking set pieces again, defending garbage.
We're the only side who could be 2-0 up or 2 goals up away from home with 8 minutes to play and draw the match.
So, I mean, your summary of earlier on of what's happening now is pretty bang on. I mean, we see the Rangers game, the big keeper's made a couple of decent saves, but he's not caught anything. No. Everything's spilling out.
Yeah.
And some of the things, so I can, but again, and I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, you've got to bang on. The attacking wise, he's looked like you've got something. Do you know what I mean? You've got a building block.
If you think about the last 2 or 3 seasons, we've failed to create chances. We're not scoring many goals. This season's a bit different. We look a bit more lively in attack. We've got a bit of pace up front. We've actually got 5 or 6 strikers now. So we've got 2 out injured. Nicky Clark's come in and scored 2 goals on
and the rest
Saturday.
Is suspended.
Yeah, this is suspended. Mackenzie Kirk's done all right. And Ikpeazu, who came in from Port Vale at the start, as you said, hasn't kicked the ball yet as he's injured.
Is he injured? Is he? I was wondering.
He's not played a match yet. He got injured straight away. and is
That
out
big
until I
man
think
caused us
October.
some amount of hassle
And
for
he'd be
Hearts.
great for someone to bring on and
Mhm.
just ruffle some feathers up with 20
Yeah.
minutes to go. But yeah, so I think in a striking department respect, we're in a good place.
Mhm.
Midfield, I think we're all right. It's that defence and
For
goalkeeper.
defence,
It's going
definitely.
to kill us. It's going to kill us, Scott.
No. The irony is, I mean, I've went through there and I've looked at the highlights and I've just checked the stats. And Rangers game aside, and I think Hibs, you're generally equal, if not mere possession. You are creating lots of chances, lots of shots on goals. Which, I mean, I was looking at Hearts stats. Hearts, I think.
Awful.
It's like I don't think they've created more than 3 a game in any game.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So obviously you can't just decide, right, we're just going to score hundreds of goals. Do you know what I mean? But I mean,
And
I
obviously this
saw your
weekend,
pessimism at
this
the beginning.
yeah, well, this weekend, you boys have started the season as
Yeah.
good as you've ever started the season, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Usually it's a slow burner, start ramping up once you get to October, November time, but
Mhm.
out the blocks in the very beginning against Kilmarnock on the first day, 29, I think, 27 goals in 8 matches, 8 wins in a row. I know obviously Sunday was a bit of a nervous last 20 minutes, but again, brought the big guns on, another 5 goals scored. I think what I said in the podcast last week is you're starting matches really well. You're scoring goals in the first 15 minutes in every match almost.
Yeah.
You're going 2-0 up at half time, game over.
Mhm.
So you can take the foot off the gas in the second half. This weekend, our record against you, Scott, is disgraceful.
Well, there you go. We
In
played
recent years, anyway. In recent
three,
years.
3 times last season. That first meeting was mate, I'd never seen anybody so negative that day. I remember coming up, I was horrendous, man. And he's doing nothing each. Celtic Park was a minging place to go at that point. Next up was the 3-1 win at your place. We were 1-0 doing at half time. Celtic were garbage in a game. We came out the second half, bums were kicked, and we won the game second half. And then the final game was 3-1. It was a bit more comfortable, and you had the late Connor Smith goal just a consolation.
Yeah.
But see, to be honest, none of that is relevant now because none of the managers are in place now. So I didn't actually touch on it. So Craig Levein obviously was replaced, or it was sacked on the 17th September. The club decided to part ways. Andy Kirk, Alan Clellan take control for the time being. So from you, just I know we're kind of trying to rattle through this, getting it done, but what would be your hope just now? Now, I was looking earlier on. I've always commended Jeff Brown for a fact for some of the guys that you've brought in all the years. Do you know what I mean? Like, so obviously Steve Lomas had done well for you, didn't do so well. Owen Coyle kicked out his career with you. Tommy Wright was a great manager for you guys. And then more recently, Steve McLean never worked. Callum Davison done the job, right? But the Craig Levein one seems to just beauty. I mean, is it somebody from Norway? Is it Scott Brown? Is it that kind of? What do you want?
I don't think there's a huge list of candidates, to be honest with you, that kind of stand out. You get the usual merry-go-round of names getting touted. I know Scott Brown's been touted, and there's chat of him, or there's conversations happening today or tomorrow with him. Again, I'm not sure he's the answer. He's still relatively young in terms of his experience. The thing with Scott Brown is he's a name. He's a massive name. And with Scott Brown comes the whole Celtic thing and how good he was as a player. There's no question, obviously, he'll be a good manager. I've no doubt about that. But he's only just started it here. So I don't know if he's the right answer either. But the names touted at the moment are him, Peter Leavin from Aberdeen, the Aberdeen coach. Number one, I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. And
that's based on the back of fucking a couple of interim roles. I mean, that's
no. Then you've then got Tiernan Lynch, who I wasn't aware of until
the Larne manager.
Yeah, the Larne manager. So I know very little about him or Larne. I just know that they've won the title of the last 2 years in the Northern Irish Premiership. He's taken them to the Conference League in Europe albeit great achievement, but a couple of easy matches against Imps and Riga, a team from Riga, I think. So I'm not downplaying what he's done there, but how many times have we seen a manager come over from Ireland or Northern Ireland do well in Scotland? Never happens. Unless you know the
It's,
Scottish League and played in Scotland, it's normally a car crash.
I agree with you. Oh, I can't disagree. It's a fact. I mean, you had the boy, he'd done Fairlin a good while, was it, and then you said
Oran Kearney,
Oran Kearney,
Pat Fenlon,
Pat Fairlin at Hibs.
I don't know if Shields includes in that. There was another
Jeez,
boy as well.
he was a maniac, though.
Yeah, there's been a few, and none of them have done well. There's no track record of anyone coming from Northern Ireland or Ireland and doing well
No.
without knowing the Scottish League or
Yeah.
having played in Scotland or managed in Scotland. So it's a tough one. It really depends. Knowing the Americans, right? The Americans will want someone, as we all do, who'll come in, a name. They want a name. They'll want to increase the profile of the club. And I believe that's possibly why they might be interested in Scott Brown. But they'll also be wanting attacking football, as we all do. But I've honestly got no idea. I've got no idea who we're going to end up with, because we're in this situation last season and nobody for a second thought Craig Levein would be coming in.
No.
So there's a lot of boxes to be ticked. But what we can say, American owners will want a name. They'll want somebody who'll get the fans on board to come and watch this play and play attacking football. No easy feat. Those things aren't easy to find.
I would say, right, and I don't mean to offend you when I say this, because I know how precious you are with your club and stuff like that. We were talking at the weekend about how Ayr United have the chance to go up, and St Johnstone right now are looking like a club maybe swithering, and Scott Brown, it maybe wouldn't be an ideal move to go to St Johnstone. But then I would offer, just based on your assertions that the club's ready to spend a bit of dough, that anybody who comes in, if he's not your kind of Peter Leavens or your coach for somewhere, he's maybe been told, there will be a wee bit of dough for you. There will be a wee, see, come January, if you can identify, right, guys, we'll back you, we will allow you to go to it. And I think the appointment might kind of show you where St Johnstone are aiming at.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, with Scott Brown, for example, what you say, they're doing well this season. They're sitting second top. He's got an opportunity to bring them up, but they've lost Anton Dowds, their top scorer, out for the season.
Right.
I think they've also got another key player out for the season. It really depends if he thinks he can do a job there and get them up, because he has to. They spent a lot of money here. He has to get them in the promotion playoff spots, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And take it from there. So it's a tough one, because you might go, do you know what? I might not get another chance.
Exactly. But, well, the stuff I'm reading on Twitter tonight suggests that he wants to talk to them. So we'll see how
and he's entitled to do that. He might speak to us and go, do you know what? I'm better staying where I am.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I've got no idea where we'll end up.
Right. Okay. So we've got Alec Clark and Andy Clark, Alan Clelland in Charles this weekend. Looking at how he's lining up, how do you think they'll play it? And then how would you play it?
Well, we're missing some key personnel as well, so I don't think the team is going to be too much different from Saturday's game against Ross County. We'll play three at the back. Nielsen, Sanders, and Cameron will play back three probably. Three right back. Raymond on the left. Then you've got a pick of kind of any 4 or 5 midfielders. So it'll probably be Holt, who will be getting booked. Being a former Rangers player.
I'm sticking it on, mate.
Holt will get booked. He'll play with Matt Smith and probably Sprangler. I imagine it'll be the same team as Saturday, to be honest with you. But the question is, does he go 2 up top? Probably not. So that then leaves who do you play up top? Is Nicky Clark a target man? But it's not got much pace, Nicky Clark. So does he play young Mackenzie Kirk? I don't know. So there's a couple of question marks there for me about how we set up. But nothing to lose. But it's always the old cliche, Scott. Keep it tight. Don't let Celtic score early doors. But as I said to you earlier, Celtic are starting games really quickly. And they're killing the match early doors as well. Plus, it's a 5:45 kickoff. So I'm sure the Celtic fans will be in fine voice at 5:45 on a Saturday night.
I feel you. Yep. Guilty.
Because normally it's a Sunday or a Saturday at
That's right, Sunday
12:30,
12,
and you've
aye.
only really got 2 or 3 hours to get yourself warmed up. But you've then got what 7 or 8 hours now potentially.
That's it. Flooding your beautiful city. Right, before we go, mate. Right, so one last question before I let you go, and thanks for giving me your time. It's always appreciated, mate. What's your hopes for this season in the short term? But then, just as we spoke about earlier on, what would be your hope for the club long term?
So I guess first of all, this season, this is our 16th consecutive season in the top flight, which is
Amazing,
fantastic. It
amazing.
pisses
Yeah.
all over so many other clubs in terms of what we've done in the last 16 seasons. But
So you like to tell people, yeah.
when I look at the league table this year, our objective is to stay up. If we can finish, if we finish 10th, that'll be a miracle because there's 2 clubs going to finish below us, and at the moment, I'm struggling to see in the league who those 2 clubs are. So I always believe in the playoff stuff, Scott, that we're better than the championship teams in the playoff, and I would fully expect us to take care of anyone in the championship in the playoff. So as long as we don't finish bottom, there's a good chance that we do. But if we finish 10th, we'll stay up. 11th, I would still fancy us in the playoff. So that would take us to a 4th consecutive season of staying up by the skin of our teeth, really. So that's the object. That's and a good Scottish Cup run would be nice. Our cup run, Scott, since we won the 2 trophies, honestly, mate, it's dire. I don't think we've actually won a match, an actual knockout game in 4 seasons. So that'd be nice. A little Scottish Cup run. Beyond that, I guess getting back to what we were at before in terms of the identity of the club, what we do, getting top 6 again, challenging in the top 6, getting on cup runs again. That's where we need to get back to. I don't believe our time's up, but it very well could be this season. There's a long way to go yet. This is our 4th season of trying to stay up, so that's got to be the objective. We're not going to do any better than that. Let's be honest. We are not finishing above 10th, and that's not me being negative. That's just a fact. There's a lot of teams in the league that are much better than us, and I've got better managers. So if you finish 10th, that's a miracle.
There seems to be a wee bit more money kind of floating about now, doesn't there? Seems that people are spending money that we haven't seen spent since the late 90s.
Yeah, the SPL glory days.
Remember those days? You've killed every club.
Pretty much. Even Hibs and that are spending money now, like £800,000 in players. Derek McInnes has been well backed at Kilmarnock with money. So
Ross County. I mean, they'll always claim they don't, but Ross County spend
Uncle Roy will get the checkbook open in January, depending on where they are. But Ross County are probably the team I think we need to try and stick with.
Right, okay, brilliant stuff, mate. Right, as always, let's finish off. Tell people where they can follow you, where they can get your betting stuff, where they can listen to your podcast.
Sure. So the betting stuff's all done through Twitter. So you'll get me on Twitter at Browning84Greg. We release the podcast also on Twitter as well. So it goes out to members, but we also put it on for free on Twitter as well. And that's available through all good podcasting facilities.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Well, as always, hope your team gets pumped to the weekend, but I hope you achieve what you want, mate.
Just a quick quiz for you, Scott, before I go.
Right.
So 29 matches now since you last beat Celtic. 29 matches. It's grim. 25 defeats, 4 draws. When was the last time we beat you?
God. 25 games. You've been up here 16. I've got... Give me a clue who Celtic manager was.
Oh, it could have been Daly, maybe Griffiths was playing for you up front.
A 2-1 defeat at your place.
Yes, Griffiths scored.
Yeah.
It was a 2-1 defeat, and it was on the 11th of May 2016. So who was the manager then? 8 years ago.
2016. So
was it Ronnie then? No.
What? I think that's Ronnie's last year, and then Brendan came in the summer.
Yeah.
That
was the last time. So you're looking to make it 30 games unbeaten against us on Saturday.
It's not personal.
No, I know, mate. I know.
Right. Anyway, Greg Browning, thank you very much for taking your time. It's been really, really appreciated, mate. Like I say, I hope your team makes it to that 10th position. I really
Yes,
do.
thank you, Scott. Appreciate
Always
it.
like chatting to you, pal. And good luck with the website and stuff like that. And I hope you get another wee trip to Norway. So,
Yeah,
Greg Browning, thank you
brilliant.
very much, pal.
Thanks very much, Scott. Cheers, pal.